welcome you to our Fiki TV podcast. And then, if you've been following us, we've been talking about fear and depression. In our last podcast, we talked about the damaging effect of fear. That was where we actually stopped. To pick up from there today, and then we'll start with where we stopped. And that is vision abortion. We talked about how fear would limit your sight, it would blur your vision, and you would not see opportunities. In fact, when you see opportunities, you would rather see the possibilities of failure rather than the possibilities of succeeding. That is a serious damage to any person. We're going to move on today. We're going to look at the next damaging effect, which is faith is drowned. Your faith, your ability to believe, your optimism is drowned when you're scared. A man who is ravaged by fear most likely would not take a step in life. And the reason is simple, because he is scared to take that step. He doesn't believe the step would be a positive or successful outcome. Now this affects everyone. It affects the student in school, it affects the man on his job, it affects the woman in her house, it affects the pastor in his church, it affects the government official trying to run his state. Once we are taken by fear, we'll lose the chance of believing right. The things we could do will suddenly begin to doubt ourselves. The feat you could achieve, you suddenly start saying to yourself, am I sure I can do this? And that's why you're going to need folks to tell you, hey, you can. You've done bigger stuff. You've handled bigger projects. You've passed tougher exams. But when fear comes in, all of a sudden, a little stuff becomes a mighty mountain because your faith is drowned. The very optimistic person, the go-getter, suddenly is scared to take their little steps of life. You have to watch it when the things that normally appear as bread to you suddenly become mountains to climb. Fear has come into your heart. Number 3 is incapacitation. And this is a case where you feel some numbness. Sometimes it's even physical numbness. If you've ever been fighting to your bones, you can relate to this. Some people feel numbness, they can't even move. They just freeze up, and it's fear. But this incapacitation, this numbness may not just be physically. It can even be in our minds. You can't think, you get to that point where you're empty. You can't even process thoughts. You can't process issues. You can't reason out matters because you're scared. There's nothing to think. There's no drive, there's no urge, there is no energy. You feel paralyzed in your mind. You can't even give an advice for yourself or to any other person. You can't interpret any situation. Good and right, wrong and right, everything is the same to you because your mind is incapacitated. Sometimes this incapacitation even encroaches into our work. People begin to drop in their performance at work, in their performance at school, in their performance at home, in their performance in business, because they can't have a grip of themselves. It's like their mind is way behind. It's like their physical bodies are way behind. You have to pull and drag because some kind of paralysis has come into play as a result of fear. That is very dangerous. You find that such people, they suddenly take a halt if they're on a project, building a house, building a home, building a business, running an idea. They just pause and they can't, come on, what's wrong? Are we not going to finish this task? No, I'm coming, I'll get back to you. They don't finish it because they are incapacitated by the raging emotion of fear. Let's take a few more before we wrap into this podcast. And another damaging effect of fear is lack of peace. We all can relate to this. Peace is an essential commodity for every individual because peace is that anchor. Peace is that stronghold that keeps you in one piece. No matter what goes around us, when we have our peace intact, we can face and surmount whatever storms of life. But the bad news is that when there is fear, you lose your peace. you lose that thrust you have. You lose that anchor you have. You lose that pillar that holds you together, that glue that pulls everything together. You lose it. And I think it's very expensive to lose your peace. If there is any damage fear would cause to you, is to steal your peace of mind. Everything around you might be fine. Your job might be intact, your family might be intact, your relationship might be cool. People around you might still be the same people, the same attitude of love towards you. But deep inside you, you're not all right. Deep inside you, you're not together. You go to sleep at night, your eyes are shut, but there's no sleep. You're not resting. You're in bed, but you're not resting. You go to the bed tired, you wake up tired. Your peace is missing. Fear took it away. The next we're going to look at is torment. If you've ever been afraid, you will know that torment and fear go together. In fact, fear comes in with torment. Fear has torment. Fear will bring torment. Fear will torment you at night when you want to sleep, will torment you in the morning when you wake up, will torment you when you go out from your job, will torment you when you're walking on the street or driving on the highway. Fear will bring torment. Fear will come and speak to your head. Do you know where your kids are right now? What if something happened on their way back from school? What would happen if you suddenly find that the result of that medical test you went for comes out positive? Fear will torment you, even when there's nothing to be scared of. What if tomorrow your country is a war-torn nation? What if tomorrow you wake up and then you get to the office and then you can't log into your PC, your system, because you've been fired? Fear would always torment you. What if the relationship doesn't work? What if you get a call from your spouse or from your loved one and say, hey, I'm not interested anymore in this whole thing. I found someone else. What if? What if you're diagnosed by a disease that you never had an expectation of? Fear will throw things at you. Some things that are substantial, some things that are unreal. It's torment. If you're living in torment, fear has gotten a big space in your heart. You have to watch out for that. And then finally, this is what we're going to draw the curtain to for today's broadcast, is depression. Depression. I can say a lot on depression because I've met with people time and again who have suffered depression or were depressed at the time I met them or had been depressed before. We're going to do an extensive podcast on depression, very soon. But let me just put a thought on this as one of the damaging effects of fear. Depression often comes as a result of fear, and they tell us that depression is that state of withdrawal that has occurred, and has been on for more than, for several weeks, refused to go away. It's depression. There's a long presence of fear. When fear has stayed so much in your heart, it will lead to depression. It will lead to serious depression. You will find your world in your mind come crashing down. And it might also affect your physical world. The things that you do, the works of your hand, the business of your life, the relationships that connect to you. Depression shows that fear has not just come, but that fear has been there for a while. You have to watch it. If you're depressed right now, look forward to our next video. It has a lot to talk about depression because it's a bad state to be in. Depression is a neighbor to suicide and many terminal diseases and illnesses. We're going to stop here today on the podcast. Look forward to the next podcast. Do well, as we always say, to subscribe to this channel. We've not done that yet, and do well to as well. Make your comment, press the like button, and share to your friends. Thank you so much for your time on today's podcast. This is Fika saying, God bless you. See you soon.